Life isn't good at the moment if your name is Marcus Rashford. In a recent Manchester United clash against Aston Villa for the first time in his entire club career, Marcus Rashford was booed by his own fans after his apparent lack of interest in chasing onto a ball spilled by Aston Villa goalie Emile Martinez. And in that moment, a section of the Old Trafford crowd lost their minds and began to viciously boo him. There wasn't a guarantee that he would have gotten to the ball first, but the fact that he didn't even try was the thing that angered a lot of people. Even when he was substituted, some supporters shared the decision, and I can't help it but to have a feeling that Manchester United's problems just played itself out in that entire moment. Rashford's body language throughout the entire match and his facial expression after the substitution says it all. The entire Manchester United's dressing room has been divided. Now let's rewind a little before the moment he was heavily criticized for. There you see Mason Greenwood turn between whether to pass to Rashford or have a shot himself, and knowing Greenwood, he chose the latter option, much to the disappointment of Rashford. But the thing that stuck out in this moment for me is Greenwood and his selfishness. This isn't the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, okay I may be exaggerating here, but the point is, he's done this kind of thing this season before. If you look up Greenwood on YouTube, one of the things you'll come across is his selfishness. And in that exact moment, you could tell these two players really don't like each other. I don't have anything against Greenwood because I think he's a really talented player and a good finisher. But I think sometimes, you gotta pass the ball, man. Come on, you gotta pass the ball. The reason why I'm digging up Manchester United's problems when this video is clearly meant to focus on Rashford alone is that Rashford's problems is almost directly tied to Manchester United's problems. There's a lot to say about United's problems that would require another video to talk about. So, if you want me to make that video, let's try to get this video to 20 likes and leave a comment down below about what you think Manchester United's problems are, and I may just feature your comments in the follow-up video. Nearly 3 years ago, Rashford was involved in one of the most iconic nights in Manchester United's recent history, when he scored a late penalty resulting to Paris Saint-Germain's famous exit from the Champions League. Many began comparing both Rashford and Mbappe, with some even going overboard to suggesting Rashford was a much better player to Mbappe. But right now, it would be considered a sin to utter such a statement, and it just goes to show how far Rashford has fallen since that glorious night in Paris. This moment was highly significant to Rashford's rise because while he wasn't really viewed as the main man under Jose Mourinho, he played a huge part in Manchester United, giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the Manchester United job on a permanent basis. And the Norwegian saw the Englishman as the face of his new Manchester United project. Rashford continued to put in exceptional performances and became the club's talisman in the process, to the point where the Norwegian even had him share the spot kick duties with Paul Pogba. Even when Manchester United started to crumble, Rashford was still carrying the team with his performances and was soon joined by Portuguese Bruno Fernandes. The two continued to run riot in the Premier League, but it was becoming quite evident that Rashford's performances was already dropping gradually due to an injury suffered to his back and Bruno's presence in the team. The Portuguese even snatched spot kick duties from him due to his expertise in that field, and then it was discovered that he was carrying a shoulder injury before the Euros 2020 tournament last year, but decided to follow England to the tournament instead of having surgery on the injury. He wouldn't do much in the Euros and experienced one of the worst nights in his career in the final after both himself and Manchester United teammate Jadon Sancho, along with Arsenal's Bukayo Saka, all missed their penalty kicks, resulting to England losing the final to Italy. The backlash was enormous. Racial slurs were hurled at all these players. It got so bad to the point where Saka had to delete his Instagram account, and Rashford's mural in Withington was vandalized. After the Euros, Rashford underwent surgery, and it said that during his recovery, he had to sought the help of a sports psychologist due to the state of depression the backlash from the final left him. He regularly spent 12 hours at the club's Carrington training base, working on his fitness during his recovery period. So this shows that he was and is still committed to the club. But the problem, however, is that when he returned to a toxic dressing room where many of the players were not speaking to each other and wasn't exactly comforted by the man who used to mentor him, with Solskjaer even telling him to focus more on football and less on his well-documented philanthropic duties outside of football. And it was there and then that his relationship with Solskjaer took an ugly turn. Not supported by anyone in the dressing room and losing some of his teammates due to disagreements, I assume Rashford was alone. Right now, under Ralf Rangnick, he's still trying his best, but it's not just coming off well for him. as his manager has even praised his mentality in training but hasn't quite translated it during matches. In my opinion, Rashford's body language isn't of that of a player who doesn't want to play well for the club, but is of that of a player who cannot seem to do anything right despite trying his best, and whatever is happening in the team's dressing room isn't exactly helping his situation at the club. Rashford is looking lost and dejected. He's a man trapped in his own mind, and after being a superhero to many children in England by helping them go through their problems, he now needs a superhero more than ever to help him go through his. And that superhero has to be the Manchester United fan base.